Okay, so while the video is uploading, one that I might not even actually release publicly for a while, I might actually stockpile some videos, and so I'm not inundating anybody with too many things all at once here. But notice that my shorts actually kind of match this blanket as well. Anyway, sorry, I just, yeah, so I thought I'm doing a few of these actually. I don't know if I'm going to do them for all of these cards right now, but this is a post-it note cut up, and I think, again, if it works for iPlay, I think it can also work for Pairadice. And so what I have done, and I've already done this for older versions of the cards that are somehow slightly larger, these ones printed slightly smaller. Can never figure that out. Let's see here. So this would be like, for example, whoops, so Boston, I'll try to print nice and light there, but it probably could go like FL1, forward line 1, or something like that. I think that's actually how I have it labeled. And again, so when you put it away, you can store it like this, stick it in a little envelope, and then when you're ready to play, you just, whoops. Okay, so it's a little harder than I made it look there. Actually, because again, these are smaller, I have to take that into consideration. But once you've done that once or twice, it will get a little bit more seamless each time. Yeah, I think actually what I'll do here, because again, it's a little different this time because these cards are just smaller. So it works better with the other cards, I should show, actually, with the slightly larger cards. But another thing that I could do is maybe cut down on this a little bit as well. Let's see if we go like that. This isn't going to be exactly even or parallel, which, you know, I'm not super concerned about there. So something like that, you can store them like that, and or you don't have to, but I mean, I don't know, it just makes a little more sense to me. And stick, you know, you'd have a handful of these, your forward lines, your defense pairs, and stick in an envelope, and then when it's ready, game time, when you're ready to play, you just do that. And then when you're done, you just do that again. For really small cards, and so you think, but I don't have iPlay. That's your game that you won't release to anybody, and you want to play it if you did, or whatever. But what I'm going to do now here on the fly is try it actually with Pairadice Hockey. And of course, I could try a different size post-it note, so just because, you know, if this doesn't... You've probably already worked out, actually, whether or not this would work. I just don't have the depth perception. You might need one a little wider for a forward line proper, but say if you wanted to take your defense pair, and you probably go, well, you would go vertically here instead of horizontally. So let's pretend that Jim Roberts is playing defense, because he did sometimes for Montreal anyway. And we'll put him on there with Jean-Guy Talbot, actually, and Talbot, we'll see. And so you do a little something like this, right? And... you could have a few of these set up. I mean, if you wanted a way that you could do that. I don't know. I mean, for this one here, you wouldn't even necessarily have to fold it under, right? But if you took a few of these, you could stack them. You could move them around. You could have a footprint for Pairadice Hockey that's about the size of your fingerprint, if you know what I mean, right? Because, like, let me, here. Again, I'm probably stating and demonstrating the bloody obvious here, but let's try it with another. Let's pretend that Wayne Hicks played a little defense. No, I'm too sloppy with it now. Good old Brian Watson. Let's get Brian Watson here. And let's see, we'll put Watson on like so. And yeah, when you're fitting it the first time, if you want to fit it there closely, it might take a few seconds longer, but you could put a few of these onto a post-it note like that. And yes, probably they're going to lose some of their sticky. How quickly actually you'd need to probably change them out and replace the back of the paper would depend. Like, do you have really static lines that you're going to use game after game after game? Or you know, do you like to change things out often? In which case you might have to replace some more, but whatever, post-it notes are a dime a dozen. So if you had a little setup like that, you could, you know, be pretty easy. And in fact, looking at that now, I'm wondering, I bet I could almost squeeze 3. Could also shave down the sides of the cards a little bit as well. I mean, again, there's so many different ways. It's like what makes a game like Zelda Breath of the Wild awesome. There are so many ways that you can do kind of the same thing. So let's take 3 forwards here. Wayne Hicks, Gilles Tremblay, and Claude Provo. Let's take Ralph Backstrom. Let's get a line proper here. And one that conceivably could have been back in the day. And so again, there's a few different things I could do here. This could be, well, let's start with a wing. This could be one. So what if we take Tremblay and we're going to put him right on the edge there. And then we take Backstrom. We're going to put Backstrom right in the center there, real tight to Tremblay. Look at that. Look at this. You'd almost think that that's what these were meant for. You really would. Like, never mind any other purpose for this exact size of Post-it note. Check that out. Anyway, right? And so you could have a few like this, like so. And you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Okay, let's see here. Take another. Yeah, I'll put Charlie Hodge at center and Gump Worsley on the wing. No. And for goalies again, I mean, I don't know. Well, you could have your starter and your backup, right? On one. I'm thinking about this as I go here, obviously, but you could have your starter. Now, I don't think Bill Hickey would have played with Jean Beliveau much. Correct me if I'm wrong. A little later on, though, he's a prospect here. So let's take Beliveau and Cornway just for fun. Where's my Boom Boom Jeffrey on card? Ferguson did play left wing sometimes, even though his card is a right wing. That I do know as a Habs fan. So we take Ferguson, we take Beliveau, and I think they played with Bernie Jeffrey on, but let's pretend that Bernie was, Boom Boom was a bit banged up, and so Cornway got to play, right? Cornway got the assignment for the game, and so, and I mean, you know, early 60s hockey, most of the time you'd only have the 3 forward lines and a couple of defense pairs, so there you go. You got a couple of Post-it notes. I mean, it's not seamless or perfect. Nothing ever is. But if you didn't want to set up the full Pairadice board, let's see here. And again, I'm just doing something that honestly I've been thinking about doing for a little while. So, Andre Bourgeois. Actually, I'm not quite sure how to say his last name. I feel bad about that. But he was just a prospect, and then he moved on to other teams. And, you know, Bobby Rousseau, let's get him, Wayne Hicks, and Red Berenson did play center sometimes. So let's say hypothetically, right, these are your lines. I know I'm leaving out a number of good players, including the Boomer. I don't know where he is. On his way to New York, I guess, is where. This is, again, the 64 set. And I don't even know if set is the right word for it. Just it's the cards for the 64 season. Right, so anyway, I should angle that better. Okay, all right, there you go. And so you can do this. This is going to be so unwatchable. Just listen. Okay, so like so, right? So you get your 3 forward lines. Oh, time for a line change. Ugh, that was excruciating. There we go, right? You could even, I guess, have them on the table, right? Time for a line change. Now there, I probably want to use the tabletop and not use this, what's this material? Is it a fleece? I don't know. But you know what I mean, right? You could just, there's a number of things you could do here. You know, let's see if I had these on a sheet of paper proper, right? So it's going to be relatively quick. I think especially once you get them worn in and you're used to doing it. So, I don't know. I mean, a small improvement. That's one of the knocks in Pairadice is that the cards get knocked around too easily. So if that's the case, again, let's stick these iPlay ones over here. And of course, you could do like I've done. What I like too, actually, is this gives them a bit of a buffer when I stack the iPlay cards, just to change the subject entirely. So, you know, you've got your Pairadice, your forward lines, a couple of defense pairs here. Right, and so it's time to change them up. You want to change your forwards up. See there, like, you know, on that grab, it wasn't quite as smooth. But I still think, and again, it's not going to get knocked around quite as easily, you know, or even if it does, like that's nothing, right? That's, you know, that gets, it's nothing. But when the cards are all just loose on the game board and there's nothing sticky beneath them, I'm sure there are plenty of other clever, innovative ways, things that you can do with these cards anyway. So yeah, and again, I thought to do something like this because I have been doing something like this with the iPlay cards. Another idea, though, that I had for Pairadice that, again, I should stop talking about it and just do it, is do these shootout style. You could have a handful of columns. And probably what I would do there, I mean, I would have the left wings in order, maybe of how much ice time they have. And if you want to mix and match and customize in your lines, reaching into the sort of tickle trunk desktop that I have here, you could, well, here you go. Here you go. Take a look at this. It's nothing too extravagant, but there's some mess over there. Dice and cards and, you know, compact stuff. You could have like something like this and like a simple like 1, 2, 3, or 4. You could even color coordinate your lines. Maybe I'm thinking about this a little too much, or I'm thinking a little too much into this or too deeply into it, or however you want to say it. But, you could do something like that, right? And you could have little, like me, you probably can get little smaller labels. And again, I really think that Post-it notes were just secretly made for tabletop hockey, right? Quite clearly, quite evidently, that's the purpose of them. That's my dry sarcasm for you. So this has gone 10 minutes. I think that's, more than well enough, long enough. Really, all I've shown here is I've attached, I've adhered some cards here to some pieces of paper. So anyway, it is what it is. I think that's a wrap for me for the time being. I think I'm going to now try to clean up some of this mess. So bye for now.